r/AskWomen. Affectionatorheart77 says, women who decided to not date anyone/get married, why and how do you feel about it now? Not date anyone as in not married, and chooses to not have a so at all. Does not mean that you never dated anyone at some point in your life, just that you decided not to anymore. Sadsledgermain says, I feel like I have to mention that I've never had the option to date, as no one's ever been interested in me, so it's not like I could choose not to date anyone in the first place. But what made me stop trying was the realization that I actually didn't want a relationship, just validation. I only wanted to feel attractive and, well, normal. I genuinely used to consider getting into a relationship my only goal in life, but when I did some introspection, I realized that there was absolutely nothing appealing in the actual parts of a relationship. I'm very independent, I'm not much of a team player or good at compromising, and I prefer doing most things on my own, so having to share my life with someone and make space for them too would ruin it. I never wanted any of that, I just wanted someone to like me. It was honestly a real aha moment. Now I wouldn't even consider dating, even if someone I liked asked me. Being unattractive and unlovable will still always be my major mental struggle in life, but I'm so glad I'm no longer obsessed with bending over backwards to chase something I didn't want in the first place. Minkimeus says, could have been my answer. Susarusilously says, I realize that I'm genuinely happiest when I'm single, and I don't need a partner to validate me. It's exhausting hearing about all sorts of relationship drama that other people deal with. I also realized that the odds of finding someone I vibe with who meets my standards is very minuscule. I'm an odd duck, and I'm okay with that. I'd rather be alone than compromise my happiness for someone else. Doral Ascadora says, when people exhaust you, you get the impression that loving you is a burden for them. Schwarzmalerin says, I haven't decided to not meet anyone ever again in my life, but the priority to do so is very low on the list of relevant things, so that's not even a decision I made. There isn't anyone interesting in my life, so it's a non-topic. Hope this counts. No_computer5421 says, I'm usually happier when I'm single. I work a lot and love my work, but need to focus a lot BC it's challenging work. So my time is limited. Also most guys are far less cool than my work and don't have enough to add to the conversation. I'm open to it if I can find someone in the same field who doesn't want kids and gets along. My cat. Basically a male version of me. Wolfwalker9 says, same, I'm in live entertainment production and work sporadic, weird, and frequently long hours. I don't want kids either, love my cats, and quite frankly don't need a man who requires caring for. He'd have to be very independent, otherwise it's just not worth the time investment. The Dangjit says, I've always thought I'd already be married in my late 20s, but I'm way past that age now. To top that off, my 8-year relationship ended a couple of years back. At that point, I've already started to accept that I might never get married and find my person. I'm not closing any doors, so I ended up seeing someone recently, but that didn't work out. So now, I'm back at square one, thinking that I may no longer get married. TBH, I'm happy where I'm now, because being single ain't that bad, but what's difficult, for me at least, is having to scratch off the idea of getting married, which I have always believed would happen for me. Lol. Clive says, I so get this. When you're younger, marriage looks like a given. So it's weird when you realize you won't ever have it. I am Thealison says, I did this for a while. I'm currently dating again, and things are a lot better. In my 20s I always had a serious boyfriend. All my partners made my life a living hell in one way or another. The immense suffering I felt in partnerships was too much. I turned down a marriage because I felt that if relationships were as soul-sucking as that, then I could not fathom a marriage. I took a hard look at myself and decided to love myself. I got into amazing shape, did 2 bachelors, a master's, and I'm applying for a doctorate. I made and established lifelong friendships and traveled. The peace and love you feel within yourself comes after healing. I also realized I needed help and therapy because I picked partners that made relationships so bad because of something within me. I used to pick the perfect package, and it ended up being a perfect recipe for hurt and resentment. Something in me wanted to be envied, wanted everyone to believe I had the perfect love. I yearned for that validation. I started validating myself. I have been single for years. I started dating again, and it's just so much easier when you love. It's now time for an unpaid shoutout. Looking for a true gamer's paradise? Check out Gamer Aimer's channel, with over 300 plus video game systems, 7,000 plus physical games, and more. She's got an impressive collection to share. Follow her collecting journey to see her real-time pickups and learn some insider tips on scoring great deals, whether you're a fellow collector or just love gaming history. You won't want to miss out on this nostalgic adventure. Link in the description. r/AskWomen. Wonderful_living_623 says, when did you feel your most sexiest? Doodler Borb says, about 3 months after I returned from boot camp. I lost too much weight there, but after I gained about 5/8 pounds back, I was very happy with how I looked. Lick_the_rapper says, when I tripped acid. Zenimarsity says, before I had my first child. So 5 years ago. Have 2 children now, 4-year-old boy and 3-year-old girl. I love them with all my heart, but oh my lord, did they destroy my body. X.X. 2 cesareans and an umbilical hernia repair surgery with mesh. Less I. Healed_Gemini 93 says, when my skin and hair look great, and I'm wearing an outfit where the color and fit complements me very well. Doug says, once I get a pump in the gym, I feel confident and full and sexy. Gobble-to-Cheesa Cake 6 says, in my silk dress, MAC blush, lashes up, nails done, hair perfected, holding a bouquet of roses. I live at 90s for real says, late 30s. Financial_horse_3999 says, always feel sexy when I work out and lift weights. Chicken Soup 60 says, never. Layoffma says, I had bought new lingerie and settled on a nice yellow number that went perfectly against my olive skin and gold heels. I felt like $1 million, and the sounds of my so crashing into stuff trying to get to me only confirmed it. Mads_Aban 141 says, after a good day at the gym. Might have something to do with adrenaline, but I'm no scientist. I just know I feel good about myself lol. Taurus Speciscensis says, now that I'm approaching 30 and have curated my personal style and aesthetic. Oh, and since dreadlocking my hair, I think my 30s are about to be a sexy girl decade for me, and I'm excited. Honey Bubs says, in dance class, and when I'm being my unapologetically goofy self. Slytherin2 Misnitch says, when I'm in a crowded space and have eyes on me, but the most searing, heavy ones are coming from my partner. Logical_Kalev says, anytime I dress up and right before my period. Throwaway Equidural says, age 20. Newfound confidence for sure, felt like a sex goddess. Nandamoto 44 says, when my ex used to come after me for sex. Mango Marando says, during the reign of skinny jeans. It was so easy to look polished, skinny jeans, ankle booties, a drapy top, long necklace, earrings. Call it a day. I understand that era is over, and I'm trying to embrace the new era of fashion so as to not date myself, but I still haven't figured out how to make oversized mom jeans look sexy. Princess Doll 420 says, pretending to model walk like Giselle across my living room. Triggered Quilt says, whenever making out with my BF gives him a boner. Clay 8 says, early 30s and consistent therapy sessions, daily HIIT workouts, good sleep. Cute _poke _trainer _98 says, when I'm all dolled up in a nice dress and heels. Spajiram says, the second I fell in love with myself. I took too many shrooms 23 years ago at a Halloween party, and when I got home, I looked in the mirror and realized that I'm beautiful. Knowing that I'm beautiful to me gives me confidence, and feeling confident makes me feel sexy. r/AskWomen. Low _acanthositter 826 says, for those of you who grew up in families where money was never properly discussed or managed, how did you learn to manage your personal finances as an adult? Hillbent Millennial says, yeah, too bad copying my financially literate friends. Alternative _C 2036 says, I didn't. I just have specific plans and goals, so I focus on that in order to learn to regulate myself cause I have a tendency to spend big money the moment I get some, so it's all about learning from previous financial mistakes every single times. Meat _complex says, watched Dave Ramsey on it. I don't agree with him 100%, but I'm 23 with amazing savings, Roth IRA maximumed out every year, have never had debt, just got my first apartment and just opened a 401k all thanks to his teachings. Unequivocal Accident says, I use the same credit card for everything and paid it in full every month. It really helped to see how much the little purchases add up when you get the big bill. This can be a very dangerous approach though. It only works if you pay the entire balance every month and not just the minimum payment. Highly _uncertain says, I didn't. I married someone who was raised by an accountant and now I call him the CFO. Indica Princess says, trials, tribulations, garnishment and a reboot. Things are better now, but I will never let my children go through that alone. Pink Spickle 2007 says, I learned later, after I was married, and my now ex-husband would leave nothing for bills or food. I started making small money and saving it, then I couldn't stand getting the red letter for bill cut-offs, so I made sure things were paid. After I was on my own still with one dependent I made a budget by doing it backwards. This is what I make. This is what I can afford for a payment. Tell me banker what can I afford for buying a house. I live on the careful side. You can use money envelopes. One for food, bills, entertainment, holidays, etc. Never spend what's not in your hand. Chipmunkulid 2413 says, I didn't and still haven't been able to learn to manage my finances, and I'm drowning in what feels like hell. 14k total with car loans, credit cards, personal loan, and I feel like I'm nothing. Like I haven't amounted to anything. To top it off, I feel like a piece of shit parent because I had 2 kids when I'm struggling to barely get by, and they don't deserve this. Rudabish says, I saw how my parents struggled with money, so I taught myself. Started working and saving and eventually started paying some bills for the house in secret. I really hated seeing my parents struggle like that and swore that I would never be in that position when I grew up, so I learned how to budget/save etc. Oral Sex 85 says, I paid attention in math class when we studied personal finances and applied it to my life. Local Cockroach 8933 says, my mum spent a lot of money. I became the opposite to a negative extent, stressing and worrying. I didn't have any boundaries, plans with money, and would avoid checking my credit card statement, even though it wasn't too bad. My method was by trying to never spend, and if I did I felt super guilty about it. Never would treat myself to anything nice. I'm still susceptible to stress/worry about it, but I budget, save a good chunk/live below my means, and then when I spend it on non-necessities I feel a lot better than I used to. Spirit_Kool-Aid says, to start, I used habits that I had from growing up poor. I tried not to indulge in the things that kept my family poor. Then mostly I learned financial literacy tips online and from a class I took. That's all for this video. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe.